Hello, everybody. It's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome to this live Q&A session and happy Earth Day. I've got my No Straws shirt on today, kind of as a pre-Q&A promo, just promoting Earth Day today. And one of the things that I do to help our planet is to reduce my use of single-use plastics. So just wanted to take my platform for a second and do that. Now, today, if you are joining me live, you have the opportunity to get some customized guidance, but there's a little bit of stuff that I need from you to make sure that you get the most appropriate guidance that's a little bit more specific to you, because I put out videos. If you're following me today, you probably have seen one of my other videos. And if not, welcome to the platform. You are more than welcome here. We have more than 3,000 subscribers, and you are also welcome to subscribe to the channel, because every month I'm going to be doing these Q&A sessions. I think I'm going to sort of, dedicate 1 week a month to focus on this kind of Q&A, because it is this level of help that sort of sets me apart from maybe other therapists or online people that you know. It's important for me to make sure that you have the information you need so that you can be successful. And that's why I never hold back. I want to give you everything you need to be successful. Now, the parents who sign on and work with me are those that want my help, my guidance, my hand-holding, coaching, through the process. However, the vast majority of people who benefit from my platform use these tips and strategies and mindset, everything on their own to see improvement with their kids. Now, so if you want help today, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do is I've got some guidelines right over here. So the first thing I need you to do is let me know in the comments section, write down your late talker's age, okay? And then their current communication. So if they're using words to communicate, maybe they're using single words. Maybe they're not using words at all. Because remember, all late talkers, no matter why they're late talking, they're using something to communicate with you. And with language facilitation, we take the child's communication, whatever they're using, nonverbal communication, and turn that into the spoken language, or help them turn that, whatever they're using now to communicate, into spoken language. So it's important that you let me know a little bit about what your child is doing. And I also need to know a little bit more about the blockages that you definitely know about, okay? Because what often happens is that parents end up focusing on the wrong thing, basically. And we need to make sure the best success you can get with language facilitation is when you understand what's blocking the process, right? It's mostly in the vast majority of people I'm working with. Now, there are a percentage that definitely have physical blockages going on, and that is things like ear infections or seizures or a genetic problem, prematurity. These are things that you can see that have been tested. If you're looking at an autism diagnosis, you want to know, how did you come up with that? If it was a physical thing, there is none. Like, there is no blood test for autism. So I never count autism as a physical blockage. In fact, a lot of the process of the autism diagnosis, if you've been following me for a while, you know that that's kind of one of the things that happens. But I'm not seeing the comments come through. Let me see if I just want to make sure that we've got everything going straight here for the chat. So yeah, if you're watching now, please just say hi or something in there to make sure that the chat's working, because I'm not seeing anybody come through. And I know you're all just watching to see, what other people are, but don't be afraid. I see that there's a few people watching now, so don't be afraid to share your questions. And it may be that people are taking a minute to write their little paragraphs, and that's okay. So this is what I kind of need to know a little bit while you're writing your text is about these blockages. So physical, environmental, we talked about the physical blockages that you know about. Environmental blockage would be things like tech time that anything in your child's history so far that would cause them to have a limited exposure to listening to the people around them. That can be spending time alone, spending time with a nanny who doesn't talk to them, spending time with tech instead of parents. And it's happened a lot that these environmental blockages due to pandemic lockdowns and parents being at home. Also, environmental blockages are things like therapy, intervention that is stressing out your family, either you or your child. If you are seeing crying and tantrums, resistance to the intervention that you've tried, either resistance to the therapist or resistance to you, these are the environmental blockages we need to know about, because those environmental things, the physical things, we change with holistic medicine. With the environmental, we use, these are habits, right, that have caused these things to happen. And the environmental blockages are a biggie, but also emotional blockages. So, and those are in you and in your child. And these are all things that we need to be aware of, because these blockages is what's stopping the process. And that's what most of the people who are struggling, if you've been watching videos and trying strategies and they're not working so well for you, it is these last two. It is the environmental and emotional blockages that are holding you up, right? So again, I'm not seeing the comments on here. So this is troubling me a little bit. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. Let me see what I'm able to do. Not seeing. No, that's not going to help me. Live chats. There. No, we don't want that. We want the live chat is enabled, but I'm not seeing anything. So yeah, hopefully people are still writing. I don't want this to be too crazy. But again, what we're going to do in this process, hopefully, as people are joining in chat, it is active. So I'm just not seeing it come through. And maybe people are just writing out long things. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, so these environmental and emotional blockages while I'm live here. By the way, I'm going to be live here until noon. Okay, I have to get off at 12 o'clock because I've got my community meeting with my clients that I have at that time. So that's why I've dedicated this whole 2 hours to helping you get answers to some of the things that are going on, right? So again, the emotional blockages that what I'm talking about are things like both you and your child. So there is a thing I've been talking about here recently called xenoglossophobia. And if you didn't watch the last video that I did about helping older late talkers, people in their young adults, a lot of you moms of little kids probably didn't watch that. But yeah, I'm seeing, hang on a second. Monica's saying, oh, there are comments. I have to look over here. Yeah, somehow it's not working. Thank you. Monica is my savior. I've got the comments coming. Somehow I'm just going to have to log in on my phone. Golly. Sorry, everybody. It's the tech that's trying to get me going. Maybe Earth Day is working out. Let me watch these live chats here, because somehow it's not coming up on my screen, but that doesn't mean that it is not so great. All right, let me see. It's coming. So I know I'm getting you. So anyway, I was talking about these emotional blockages while these chats are coming. Here they are, finally. Thank you. Okay, so I got the comments coming. Let's get into them right now. So here's Monica, who actually happens to be someone in my program. And I know that some of the people who work in my program don't always join me on my regular community meetings because they are at a different time than this. So, you know, that can be another reason. But Monica's always been following my platform. But let's get into her case. So I've got FBA ADOS who says my son is 5. And okay, let's talk to her first because she was the first comment. And I know that she was on the other day wanting to know. So Eddie is 5. He is nonverbal. He just babbles, but he can say mama. Okay, so that's the communication that he's using. He's 5. No physical blockages. Okay, great. He uses tech a lot. He's diagnosed with moderate autism and global developmental delay. Okay, so what I don't know, again, these are the blockages that you think. Now, again, if you're looking at tech, you know, what I also need you to do, and while you're looking at these comments, is go ahead and send me a note about what you're stuck with, because that's the other thing that I didn't put on here. Because remember, if I see something like nonverbal child who babbles and can say mama, first of all, that tells me that a child is interested in using their speech for communication, okay? But they just don't know how yet. That's what babbling represents. I want to be talking, but I don't know how to do it yet. Sometimes I sort of liken this stage as the first time you ever go to a professional show or a sporting event that is a topic that you love. So for example, if you love soccer or football and you go to the football game first and you learn that, you see them getting goals and you see everybody in the stands getting excited about it. And in your heart, you're like, man, I want to do that. I want to be a pro football player. In my case, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a pro ice skater, right? My parents took us to the ice capades back in the 70s when I was a little girl, and I wanted to be an ice skater. Now, my parents didn't have lessons for ice skating lessons. That's a big expense thing, And so what I did myself, I was so motivated by that I wanted to skate and look beautiful like, Dorothy Hamill and all those people on the ice. I'm really dating myself here. But yeah, I wanted to do that. And so it was so highly motivating for me to want to skate like that I ended up getting a part-time job to go buy my skates to be able to try to skate myself. And this is why language facilitation and understanding what your child is currently using for communication is so important, and then digging deeper to understand what they're talking to you about, because that self-motivation does come into play, especially even when you're 5 years old. You see something in your world that you really want to do, especially at 5. At 2 and 3, you don't have that cognitive level to really get excited about that thing. However, also at 5 or 6, and this could be the same thing that's going on with Monica and Charlie. As a matter of fact, let's talk about this. And here's another one who has Jesse. How old? Oh, that's a 2-year-old. So Charlie is 6 and knows a lot of words and uses limited sentences, but he's memorized and repeated ones, right? So he's at the very next level, talking more and more, babbling, singing, blockages, tech, not so talkative parents. Okay, so again, what we're learning about in these similar cases, whenever you've got a kiddo who's 5 or 6 years old, so this is for all you mamas out there who've got kids that are older than 4.5, I'm going to say. This idea of they're trying, whatever they try, whatever you hear as their current communication is their effort level. That's where they are. And what you need to do at this stage is identify exactly what the meaning is behind that babble or those memorized phrases, because these kids are using those things because they don't know the words they need. And your job as a language facilitator and a mama, the one who knows these kids better than anybody, knows, first of all, that their brain is thinking faster than they can communicate. It always, always is. They are using their eyes, and they have learned how to start putting their little algorithms in their head together. They're if-thens. If I do this, then this is going to happen. If mommy does this, then that means she feels a certain way. This is how they learn in these if-then scenarios. And this is what they try. Trial and error. This is when you see kids getting big enough to start getting into things, to start to run around, to start to be independent in meeting their own needs, right? And that may look like diverging away from not so talkative parents, like in Monica's case, or into their tech more, because their tech is elevating the exposure where not so talkative parents are. And this is why at this stage, it is super, super important to identify what your child is interested in and what they are spontaneously trying on their own. So if your child is, in Charlie's case, saying these imitated things, so he's been watching a lot of tech. Maybe he's memorizing songs. Maybe he's memorizing phrases he hears from shows. It depends on the level of tech exposure. If it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, that's just entertainment. And literally your child is in their head thinking of something else. If they are watching a similar kind of thing only over and over again. So for example, a lot of these 4 and 5-year-olds will find either verbal or nonverbal theme that they like. Watching kids play with trains, watching people cooking, watching, people doing things. They want to see people doing things and creating an outcome, doing the steps by steps by steps. How did you get that thing that is so cool? You did this and this and this. And remember, these kids are at this algorithm age where they're like, if I do this, then this is going to happen. And that's why they're using YouTube to learn these things, okay? If you as parents are not teaching them. And the key is you as parents can do this way far better and easier than a YouTube video. So if your child is into cooking or building or running or making messes or jumping or eating or whatever they are into, especially after 4 years old, right? They have figured out what they like and what they don't. They also have figured out this if-then business, and they know how to manipulate you. They learn where your buttons are and they learn how to push them. And they're triggering these emotional blockages. That's how environmental blockages turn into emotional blockages. They learn these if-then algorithms and they start using them to manipulate you. And then your mindset goes, woo, like my glasses did. Goodness, so excited about this. Yeah, your motivation and encouragement and positive thinking about your kiddo goes down, and then your effort towards helping them goes down, and then you're stuck because your child has manipulated you into understanding and interpreting this nonverbal communication. And that's true, especially if your child is over than 4 or 5 and you are still guessing what they want in their life. And that is a major mindset and that mindset blockage that causes an emotional blockage. A mindset blockage that comes from, my child isn't talking and I need to know what they want, so I have to do this instead of teach them, okay? And when you decide to teach them instead of guess and anticipate and do it all for them, then they will bring the effort to you. They will rise to the effort with you. But if you enable them, not empower them to use the talking that they want to use, that they're excited about, right? But you enable them to rely on you to be their talkie boxes for them, especially in a social situation, they will continue to do that. You are reinforcing your child's emotional blockage. I can't talk. I need mom. She shows me. I need her to rely on me. I need her to guess me. I need her to anticipate my needs. I need her to do whatever. And as they get older, they get more and more reliant on you doing that. And if that's something that you want to continue, then you have to really pay attention, or not continue, as as we say, it's not a great idea for this kind of thing, this manipulation to go on. Manipulation can turn into negotiation. So it all depends on where the problems are in your life. Let's talk about some more of these comments. So I hope those were helpful in those answers. I'm not seeing any more comments roll in. So again, if you just joined me live, the best way to get some help from me today is to tell me a little bit about your child and where your struggle is, okay? So let's see. So Monica wants to make a plan and find those times and moments where we can focus on talking. Mornings, preparing for school, meal times, outdoor activities, bath times, his favorite times, toys and Legos, right? So that's it. The trick, if you are super busy and you need to figure out how to make a plan, Monica has that's the solution really, is if you want your child to start to work with you on trying to tell you about their problems, okay? Most people think, and this is a really good, like, Monica, and I always talk about, even my book is called If It Isn't Fun, It Isn't Fun. It's true. It's true. And again, when kids are very excited about something, they're going to try harder at it. However, communication, the real reason, the main reason, the first reason that we learn to use communication is to communicate about our problems, to let people know when we need help. It's the very first reason we communicate as humans when we're born. We came out, it's cold here, right? I need somebody to help me warm me up and start giving me some real food in my mouth and all that stuff, right? From the very beginning, we communicate like this. And it is our motivation to let people know our problems. And so problems are a super helpful way to empower your late talker to tell you about their struggles, because they will tell you about their favorite things that they want. If they want to eat something, they want a treat, they want their tech, whatever. They will work hard to tell you about their favorite things, but they will also work hard to tell you about their problems. And they already do. It's usually the communication you don't want to see. That's why you guess it, to stop that behavior. But my biggest suggestion always to all the families when they get to this stage where their kids are doing things like saying mama, and they want you, like, if there's nothing else that works when they say mama plus babbling, mama's going to show up and then they're going to do something with their body, point, grab you, push you, show you something, whatever, to help you guess what's on their mind. So in that moment, when you have the opportunity, your kiddo's saying jargon, mama, ga, whatever, or mama, over and over again, when they are doing their best to tell you, I got something on my mind. Something is bothering me. Something is exciting me. Something is frustrating me. You are doing something that's making me excited, or you are doing something that's making me mad. Okay? You know, when you look at your child, what they are doing. And their problem in that moment is, I don't know how to tell you that I'm excited, and I don't know how to tell you that I'm mad or frustrated or tired or whatever. That's the problem. Always the problem with these late talkers. And if you are in this stage, it doesn't matter at this point with this strategy in itself. If your child is 18 months or 18 years, that's what's going on. When they have problems, they're always 100% going to come to you unless you have a history of ignoring them when they have problems or just correcting it. You know what I mean? You're either going to be the maid and butler and chef, or you're going to be the counselor and coach that says, wait a minute, you've got a problem. You are hungry. Well, and then in your world, because you're a family and you're living together, you have a situation too in that moment. Maybe your child's hungry and you're in the middle of something. Maybe your child's hungry because 5 minutes ago you tried to get them to eat and they refused to eat and now they're hungry, right? There are lots and lots of reasons that your kids are using the behaviors that they're using. And when you figure out what those things are, then you're going to say, wait a minute, you don't like this broccoli. You want me to go faster. You don't want the blue cup. You want the red cup. You want this and that. You don't like that when I do it. You really like it when this happens. I'm going to do this more. Or you don't like this. I'm going to do this less. And when you tell your late talker that you get that they are using their if-then algorithms, first of all, you got to understand that they're doing it. They are reading you just like you are reading them in their nonverbal communication selves, right? That's what's going on. And when this nonverbal reading, you're guessing their mind, they're guessing you, it's telepathy, it's patterns of behavior that you remembered since they were little, and they have taught you, they have put you in these emotional and environmental situations because they are struggling because of what's called xenoglossophobia. And it's a real thing, and it means I'm scared and anxious around using this new spoken language that other people are better at me than me, and I'm not as good at, but I need it. I know I need it. I know I need to use it, but I also am being judged, and I also feel frustrated, and I like all of those things are going on together with language learning. It's a big, big deal, and that's why we have to talk about all of these blockages. So anyway, let's get into seeing a little bit more. All right. So FBA Ada says, I need a plan like Monica. It's so hard for a single mom. I'm still on stage 1 of the course trying to stop prompting. Right. So actually, I'm really glad that you mentioned that in the course. In both my book and my independent study course that I have on the website, wavesofcommunication.com. The links are in the description if you want to find out. There is a process that you go through, similar to what I'm talking about here, where you have to identify these things, right? If your late talker's age, that's why your late talker's age is important, because if they're only 18 months, they haven't been exposed to a lot of language. So they're not going to have data banks built up of memorized things. And if your child's 18 years old, they have tons of memorized stuff. They have tons of those if-then algorithms programmed in there. They have tons of exposure to many, many, many different talkers. And they also have control over their motivation and emotions and their physical selves, right? By the time they get to be older. So they're going to show you as soon as, and this is why it happens even with 18 months old, as soon as your child is able to show you that they can communicate to you, they're going to, right? And if they can't because they have some physical movement. So let's talk about those who have physical movement problems that are born with a real, like they can't point, or they're late walking, premature kids usually in this case, or those kids with syndromes, Down syndrome and stuff. Those kids are going to be late talking because they need to use their physical body and use their brain to focus on developing those physical skills for eating and moving and breathing and all of those things. And once those things are all feeling copacetic, then they can move to higher level language thinking and focusing and developing those cognitive things. So they got to work on getting around first so they can explore the world physically and with their eyes, and then they can get into talking a lot more easily. And kids who are being forced into spoken language learning before they're walking or before their physical movement needs are met are going to be frustrated in the process. So if you've got little ones that don't want to sit still, they have to have that runaround time, they have to have that gross motor time, or they can't listen. They just can't. They just can't. And you'll know when your child is able to grow out of this because they can sit and listen to a video for a really long time. But those kids who can't sit and listen even to a video for 20 minutes without running around with it in their hand, they need movement in their life. And you must do movement in their life every day. So, by the way, thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you for liking this video and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. If you just saw, I'm doing this 2-hour Q&A because I hit 3,000 subscribers. And I know that there's parents out there who have questions, who are interested in wanting to know. Now, this FBA ADOS gal is saying that, she needs a plan. And it is true. You must have a plan because consistency in your language facilitation is very, very important. And everybody's plan starts with a commitment of 2 to 3 hours where your brain is going to be focused on this interpretation of your child's interest. So they are seeing, you're watching what they're doing, you're interpreting their meaning behind it. Why are they using this behavioral communication? All behaviors communication. Why are they using it? And giving them the words they need. It doesn't have to be directed, and it has no expectation of outcome. It is just your job. If you're a single mom and you're working, I was a single mom with 2 kids. Now, my kids didn't have special needs, but I also worked 3 jobs. In addition to that, teaching other people to teach their kids to talk and working with kids as a speech therapist. So I know that you can do this because you have at least 2 to 3 hours per day. And it doesn't have to be in 2-hour chunks. It can be in, at first, especially with little kids, you're going to get little chunks. You're going to get 30 seconds or 2 minutes. Now, her little guy is 5, so it all depends on his level of resistance, his level of xenoglossophobia. Because if you have high anxiety and stress around talking, anything that is speechy, teaching around talking stuff is going to be a resistant activity for your child. So if that is in fact, and I don't know if that's true, but if your child is resisting what you're doing with them, you have to start to get them on the same page with you and let them know that I'm doing this not because it makes me happy. I'm not doing this because, whatever. I'm doing this to help you, right? I'm not doing this because Miss Marcy said. I'm not doing this because I saw it on a YouTube video. I'm doing it because I believe that when I talk to you more and we engage together and we talk about fun things and the tough things that are going on in our lives, that you're going to understand speech better. And when I talk about your feelings and when I talk about your ideas, because I know you better than anybody and I know what you're thinking about when you're building those Legos or you're lining things up or whatever. And if you don't know, that's when you want to engage that level of communication with your child so you can find out why. Because when you find out why they are lining up everything A to Z, like I've got in one family, or why they're tapping on everything, like I've gotten in another family, or why they won't stop moving, when you find out why they're motivated to do that thing and what they love, that's when you connect with them in the language facilitation zone. Then you have these, aha, he loves this about this activity. Not just he loves this activity. My kid loves bubbles. Why does your child love bubbles? My child loves running. Why? Why does your child like running there? And why does your child like jumping on that thing? And why does your child attracted to water or tearing paper or whatever? Why? What is it about those things? And if you want to stop prompting, like you're doing in your ADOS person, is you have to think about those things behind, and you're never going to prompt it again because you're going to be doing too much ahaing. You're doing too much analysis. Oh, you want that. Oh, you don't like that. Oh, you're interested in this. Look at that. You're so smart. You figured this thing out all by yourself. Look what you did. I'm so proud of you. What does every child want? In fact, when think about it in the first thing, those parents, again, who aren't very talkative, you're not observing and watching your child, because I'll tell you what, if you spend time watching them do whatever it is, you spend time watching that and you start to think about, why are they doing that thing that way? That child. My child that I love, he's in that crazy way, in that intelligent way, in that unique way. They're using their brain. Even 18-month-old babies are trial and error problem solving stuff, putting everything in their mouth, right? Is this something I should evaluate? Because when they're 18 months, they don't know how to evaluate anything, to think in, logic, if then. They can't do their algorithms then. They're like positive or negative, yes or no. Does it taste good or not? Does it make me feel good or not? That's it. And that's why if it isn't fun, it isn't fun is so, so important for the very littles, right? And the idea of putting a very young child under 3 years old into therapy that makes them cry is a super bad idea, because it is teaching your child to have xenoglossophobia. And even their super fun therapy, if they did like it in the future, they're going to have a pre-programmed disposition to hate people coming to make them sit in one place. And they're not going to forget that. I have a mom in my program. They left US. They're from India. They left US to go to India right before the pandemic and got stuck there. And they were there for a whole year now. And it has taken an entire year to unprogram the massive, he had 30 plus hours of ABA here. And then they tried to transition him into kindergarten, and he had a real hard time transitioning into kindergarten. But they continued to want to do these one-on-one things that he was fighting with all the time. It took this kiddo close to a year. And his mother, massive months and months and months of reprogramming to stop prompting everything in this child. So now finally they're able to take him out in the community and he's exploring and learning with other kids. He's not stuck to his mom's side, completely petrified and afraid that anyone in the world's going to talk to him, because everyone in the world that talked to him before he was 2 years old made him do something or say something to get the things he loved. They withheld the things he loved, and it wrecked this kid for a whole year. It took his mom literally leaving the country to get away from this environment because she couldn't tell these people at the school that this was causing this kind of stress and xenoglossophobia in her kid. So it is super important. If you've got a little, this is why I talk over and over and over why autism diagnosis, early autism diagnosis, is not a good idea, because with diagnosis comes these invasive, they are invasive therapies. If your child is crying with the therapy, that should be your sign that you need to stop it now. Don't let your child get used to that. It is a problem. Remember, those if-then algorithms are going to kick in and they're going to say, if someone comes toward me with some kind of teaching thing, then I am going to shut them down. And it doesn't matter who they're going to be. They'll shut them all down. And it's going to be hard for those rare, wonderful therapists that you could get in your life to break through and connect with your child. And then what's going to happen is in the system, your child's going to be labeled as more and more and more severe because they are more and more and more resistant to the structured intervention. And you're teaching your child to hate that stuff by putting them in stuff that they cry through. So please, if I can tell you anything on this therapy, do not let your therapist make your kid cry. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly because I, in the past, have made kids cry. I've done it myself. And I know it happens. It was because my ego was in the way. And I wasn't understanding this child's true xenoglossophobia, his total fear around talking. How can you make a child try? We have to try to speak spoken language. You have to try it yourself. No one can program you like a computer to be a talker. You have to want to learn, want to focus, want to listen, want to absorb, want to assimilate, want to enjoy, and then want to use this spoken language because it is useful for you to communicate your problems or share your ideas. That is the only reason we as humans learn spoken language, unless it is taught as a behavior in response to imitating, say, words, right? That's the same as, whatever. Do this or, all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of thing about this. All right. I'm not seeing any new comments. I'm seeing more people joining, but I want to see more comments coming through. If you have questions, let's see. I think Eddie wants to talk. It's just easier to hand, lead, or use a PEC. Of course it is. This is why I do not recommend PECs at all for children who can say words, or even for kids who are babbling at all, because it's easy for them to learn to point or use a PEC. It's easy. And it teaches them, right? Again, that's why these ABA people use PECs to teach communication behavior. And parents, they want parents to rely on those things. Now, your name is FBAA, Josh, so you must be trained as a behavior analyst or something like that. So you're doing this behavior stuff in your home with your child all day. And that's why it's hard for you to stop prompting, I can imagine. And it is a big mindset change. However, you probably are realizing that when, and you have to commit to it. You just have to really change your mindset. You really, really do. Because you can think like, oh, it's not so bad. He's got some words. Your child's going to say less when you do language facilitation if you've been prompting a lot. Like I said, the family I have in India, it took them a year because the mom wouldn't stop prompting. And the families that work with me, they think they stop, and then they come back and they say, how come it's not working? And I say, send me video. And they send me video and I can see them prompting, low-key prompting. You can prompt a child to do something without saying, do this. There's those fill in the blanks. The cow says, right? I didn't ask you to say that, but I implied. a prompt. A lot of parents imply prompts because they like to hear the results. And the results, this is an emotional mindset block that parents get themselves in. When they get heavy into prompting and teaching their kids Pecs and signs, they learn. They learn those Pecs and signs. They do. It's very basics. They might learn more, or they'll learn one, hold their hand out, or more for everything. And they'll do it a different way. They'll point their fingers together, or they'll do this, or they'll do this, or they'll do this, or they'll do this. Who knows what they'll do? They're just doing something to trigger you to give them what they want. And if you want them to do that thing, you focus on like, oh, it's not appropriate. You need to use all your fingers. And like you're focusing on that they're doing it wrong, whatever they try. Even when your child points to something and you say, that's not enough, I need you to do more to communicate in order for me to give you that thing. Guess what? You are training your child to ignore you because nobody wants that in their life all day, every day. You have the opportunity every moment your child wants something from you. Every opportunity your child wants something from you, you have an opportunity to teach them spoken language around it. Okay. And every time you anticipate your child's needs, they're crying, you think in your head, he needs a whatever, and you give him the whatever, or you start saying, do you want whatever number 1? Do you want whatever number 2? Do you want whatever number 3? Do you want whatever number 4? That's teaching your child that if then algorithm works. All I got to do is make noises and someone's going to come problem solve my world. Okay. And that's not how we teach kids to be grown-ups. That's not how we teach kids to communicate for themselves and tell you what they love and what's on their mind. And if they don't agree with you or they do agree with you, how to empower them to share that information with you. Because when you dictate the words, pictures, signs, anything that you want to hear, like, I want to hear this response. I want to hear this. I want to hear, thank you, mommy. I love when you cook my what, you know what I mean? You think about it. That seems extreme. Like, thank you, mommy. I love it when you read my mind and cook my food for me. Okay. Which is what your child is thinking, by the way. They're thinking that. And if you want them to ever say it, you've got to stop doing that. You've got to stop reading their mind because it's very powerful. It's a very powerful mindset trap to rely on your mother. You're born with it. You're born with it. That's the struggle that parents have with kids from the time they're born. I love my baby, but I want him to grow up and be good in the world. But I love my baby, but I want him to grow up in the world. But I want to have input on my baby. I want to make my baby the way I want him. I want to show them what they need. I want to turn them into a mini me or whatever. You're responsible. You're responsible for what that mini me turns into. And I posit that most of you want them to turn into their own self, right? And share their own ideas and have their own ideas and not just do what other kids do, right? Your kid's different on purpose. Came here different on purpose. Whatever these blockages were, they came to you on purpose to help you so that you can identify them and make the changes in the habits you need to get the outcomes that you want. That's why we love problems and waves of communication, because it gives us a topic to talk about. And it gives us a mindset to take action, right? Because when we realize the problem, most of the time, you don't realize these mindset problems are happening. The environmental ones are a little easier to identify because you see a real reaction. If your kid gets tech or doesn't get tech, or your kid likes the therapist or doesn't like the therapist, or, whatever. Okay. You see, likes the food, likes the environment, likes the experience, likes that person. You know if your child likes it or not, just by their behavior. And those, again, opinions, critiques. Why? Why does your child like that thing or not like that thing? It tastes like dirt, or it tastes like candy. You know what I mean? Kids like bananas and apples because they taste sweet, like candy. What a yummy thing to eat. I know you like fruit because it's yummy, right? And you know it's yummy and you can relate to that. This is what teaches your child, hey, there's an if-then algorithm I want to hold on to. When I talk about things that relate to other people, it makes them smile at me. They don't try to make me do things, and they'll give me more information about it. So your late talker in the next level beyond you is already, in fact, already now, by saying mama, 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 and saying the babble that they're saying to you, they are prompting you to give them more. And the best thing you can do is just stop asking questions. Just replace the questions that you're using, especially if they're yes, no questions, right? You never have to ask your late talker a yes, no question. Never. All you have to do is ask an open-ended question. What do you want? If you know your child doesn't, what do you want? And if they don't tell you, then you have to have them show you, because they can show you what they want, right? And if your child's too upset to show you what they want, then you got to say, whoa, you're too upset to even communicate right now. It's my job to calm you down. I call that stop, drop, and roll. You can't roll on through interpreting nonverbal communication, which is not real easy all the time, especially if there's emotion tied to it, right? You can't get into that kind of analysis if this emotional behavior is in the way. So you got to take care of that. Take care of your child. Calm them down. Balance them together. Get them together again. Give them hugs. Hug them out. Let them jump. Let them move. They might need deep pressure. They might need hugs from you, or they might need to go and do something before they can get into the conversation. And if you are stuck teaching moments, like if you see your child literally, you're holding them in one place to listen to you, that's a problem. Because once again, you're developing this resistance. Your child remembers. They remember, especially the behaviors that you use. Those if-thens, they kick in. They kick in for sure. And they remember. Okay, so Anya Cherie, hi, nice to see you today. And thanks again for joining me, everybody. Hit the like button and you can share this video. And remember, I'm going to be doing this we're going to talk about every month. I'm going to be doing Q&As, because the other weeks I'm doing educational videos. But let's see what this one has. Now here, my child, 3 years old now, he can say a few words, brilliant. But if we say to repeat some word followed by us, he doesn't follow after me. Okay, so if you want your child to become an active imitator, there is definitely a phase of language development that all late talkers go through. The younger ones tend to do it a lot more than the older ones. The older ones will do it inside their head. The younger ones will do it out loud. So what happens is, when they hear something that they like, that they would say again, that exactly says what's on their mind. So for example, if your child has a problem, they want chocolate. You know, a lot of these kids love chocolate. So they want chocolate, and they want more chocolate, or they want chocolate from you. And you know they want chocolate. It's out of reach, that kind of thing. So even in this case, the child might say chocolate. But instead of understanding, oh, you want chocolate, your problem, right? Your problem is you are hungry for a snack and you want chocolate right now. Now, you may also have a problem in that circumstance where you don't want to give your child chocolate right now because you just gave them chocolate or whatever, right? Or whatever. There might be a no. Maybe you don't have any. Maybe you don't have any chocolate. There are reasons, right, that you have to say no sometimes. And but what you want to do through the whole process, whether you can give it to them or not, is talk about the process of the requesting. Okay, because remember, if you are guessing, so remember your child's saying words, so maybe they are they're guessing. You know, you're guessing what they want because they say cookie and you think they want another cookie, but they think I want 5 cookies. And you gave them, okay, cookie. You said cookie, I will give you a cookie. Here's your cookie. And then they cry, right? Or yell at you or throw the cookie at you, right? And you're like, well, I don't get it. What do you mean? You told me you wanted a cookie, I gave you a cookie. And then you got a different response. And that's because you didn't look behind that one word into the reason your child used the word cookie for you right then. Okay. And then you realize, whoa, there is more. This is an aha moment. There is more to this situation than my child just not knowing the words. Like I guessed wrong. I gave my child something they didn't want, or in the wrong way, or the wrong cookie, or in whatever. I did it wrong because here they are having a fit. Just when I gave them a cookie, they said cookie, I gave them a cookie, and they still say no and push it away. Okay. It's interesting that you talk about that, how that happens, because when parents have less time really observing and analyzing their kids, they get into the mindset of get through the day. And then when you're focused on what you have to do to get through the day, and that I need my child to eat, we're going to eat at 2 p.m. And after they eat, I'm going to do this with them, and I'm going to do this with them, and I'm going to do this with them because I've got to work, or I've got other kids, or I've got other things going on. And then 2 p.m. rolls around and this child decides not to eat. Right? And now you're stuck, because you've made a plan that why you need to hurry through your day, you need to get back to work, you need to do whatever, and your child's out of the plan, not on the same board, not on the same page. This is a super important opportunity for you too, because your problems, we've got to hurry through today. I've got an appointment. I've got to work. We've got to go to the doctor. Your therapist is coming, whatever reason. That is impact into your daily schedule that you need your child to be participating and on board about. And so this daily schedule that I talked about, where you are planning out, where are my 2 to 3 hours of language facilitation? And if you need your child to get something done, I need them to get up and get dressed and get out of the house in the morning. I need them to eat their breakfast so that they can get onto the bus. I need them to do X, Y, and Z. Then you've got to plan enough time to work it out, and you need to train your child before, during, and after about your expectation, and let them know today is going to be different. We've got to hurry. Or, and then the days that you also have change in your schedule because you can. So let's say you used to run on a really fast pace, or you used to be home all the time, and now you're getting ready to go back out in the world. You're getting ready to go back to class, or go back to the office like some people are doing. And then your situation is going to change again. Your getting up and getting out is going to be different. All of the schedule of your day, you need to involve your child in, just like you involve them in your language facilitation efforts. You don't schedule and plan these things without your child. You say, okay, we're going to do this together. And at the very beginning of that language facilitation opportunity, you schedule in yourself, like before you get your kid ready in the morning. You say, all right, this is a time while we get dressed, we're going to focus on language. And you just tell your child, I don't care if they're 18 months. You say, we're going to focus on talking while we get dressed. Let's practice all the words we can do to get dressed. And you just say, let's practice. Let's. Okay. And then you say words a lot, and you don't have any expectation of imitation, but you just say words a lot. Let's practice talking while we do this. Let's practice talking while we do this. And then you've opened the door to slow your speech way down, to use very careful models, to repeat yourself over and over if you need to, because if your child has trouble understanding a concept, because you've put them into learning mode, even if it is while you're brushing teeth or having breakfast or riding in the car. Hey, while we ride in the car, let's talk about what we see. I want to talk with words while we ride in the car today, so you can listen to me and talk about what we see. Look, I see a red light. Look, I see this, or it's raining, or it's whatever. Just talking about those things and getting your child's joint attention. Look at that thing. Wow, listen to me. I like talking. Talking while I'm driving. Talking while I'm walking. Talking while I'm cooking. Talking while I'm working. Whatever. I need to do this, and I have to do this. And now, the mop is dirty. Now I need to get the bucket, and all of the things that you do. This is how you show your child, look, I know you like tech. I know you like that other stuff. I know you like TV. I know you like spending time on your own. But guess what? I am interesting. And when you listen to me, your mama, you're going to learn to talk. Just tell your child, because it's true. It's true. And when you do that and you say it out loud, I am going to help you talk. I'm going to do it. We're going to work every day, 2 to 3 hours. We're going to do this together, and you're going to talk. And your child may roll their eyes and look at you and not even understand what you're saying or whatever. You're going to find a way. to tell them, because that's what is necessary. This is not a job. You can't make your kid do anything. You can help your child use it themselves. That's why these blockages. That's why we talk about blockages. We don't need to use strategies. We need to understand what's blocking the process and change those habits. That's when you see progress. That's when you get the difference. Okay? Now, if you want to learn how to get through this process, I do have an independent study course, and I wrote a book too. So in fact, I'm going to show it to you really quick. This is my book. It's called If It Isn't Fun, It Isn't Fun. Teach Your Child to Talk Faster Than Speech Therapy. And you can check it out on Amazon. It's available paperback. You can get it Audible, and you can get it in the Kindle version as well. So let's see. Here's another one. So Jesse, I wrote a few comments before describing. Let's see. Jesse. Yeah. So, you did, right. So he also was waking up and staying up 2 hours before going back to sleep at night. Okay, so let's see. I want to make sure I've got all of those. Saying more and more words, even combining 2 or 3 words. And still having difficulty with his expressive language. How long after addressing ears should he start talking more? Okay, so addressing ears. So if one of your physical blockages was ear fluid, then after your ear fluid, it all depends on that level of interaction and listening. So, and also your child's level of xenoglossophobia. So if before, when your child wasn't hearing very well, they got out of the habit of listening. And if there's pressure around talking, that's going to push them away even more to listen. So the main thing that you focus on, especially if you have ear infections, is listening, getting your child to be with you and doing what I just talked about earlier, talking about all that stuff that you do. Watch me while I talk, while I cook, while I walk, while I drive the car, that kind of thing. How long depends on if you are consistent every single day and getting 2 to 3 hours of active, engaged conversation with your child. You should hear new talking within 2 weeks. New language coming, new focus coming. And if you see resistance to that connection, you got to stop prompting and asking questions. That's the number one thing. Stop questions and you'll get better listening. That's the main one. Let's see. And then up at the middle of the night it could be a couple things. Okay. Number one, there's, planetary things going around, seasonal change. It's light later. It's dark earlier. That kind of thing is going to be the time. The lighting is going to change. However, kids will use sleep as a tool, a manipulation tool. I've done a video about that as well. Eating, sleeping, and that kind of thing. So whenever you see a new behavior, like your child refusing to do something or doing something that you don't want them to do, and they do it consistently, number one, you realize what is the reason behind this behavior. And if it is something that you can do something about, then you need to address that reason. They're not feeling good. There's, whatever going on, but it could be a new habit coming out because maybe your child likes to wake up at 2 a.m. and you're turning on the TV or you're feeding them or you're doing whatever to encourage them to stay awake during that 2 hours. It's very important during the time that you communicate with your child. Oh, you're awake? Why are you awake? If I don't know why you're awake, I have to let you know my problem. My problem is it's sleep time now. And we all have things to do in the morning. So it's important for us to try to close our eyes and go to sleep. And you talk your child through the process of closing eyes and keeping calm voices and lay down with them and rub their back and not talking much at all. Humming, playing music in the background to focus their brain to get back to slowing down into a sleepy mindset. Because they can wake up and be 0 to 100. If you join 100 and you start feeding them and giving them things, they're going to start to get in the habit of, woo, here's a little extra connection at 2 a.m. I can get some one-on-one time where it's all the world's quiet with mom. right? If that's what your child wants, then you give it to them in the fact of letting them come in your bed and snuggle, or you going in their bed and snuggling and reminding them, it's so good when we can sleep at night. It's so nice when we're quiet and we have this time to sleep. And it makes mommy feel so good to have that nice sleep time in my bed. I love my bed. It's so soft. I love my sleepy friend. I love my pillow. I love my blankets. What do you love about this bed? What makes it so great to be in your bed that you don't get to be there very often, right? That's how you get your child to want to do the things that you want them to do. You make them seem fun and necessary and exciting. And you also play the mom guilt card. Look, I got a problem with this. You waking up at 2 a.m. because mommy's really tired and I need your help. I need your help. I need you to come and stay in bed with me. I need you to come do this with me. Please help me. Because just like your child needs your help 24/7 and they love it when you help them, give them the things they want, they will help you. They will help you out. But you got to let them know what your problems are. Because if you keep like complaining to everybody else, and this is what usually happens, 5 a.m. comes, your child's still knocked out sleeping because they were up for 2 hours in the middle of the night. And you're like, man, now I'm exhausted. I got to get up to this thing. You complain to everybody else about it. You complain to your coworkers and your partner and everybody else instead of your child who's causing this. So it doesn't matter. Even if your child's 2, you got to tell them nighttime is for sleeping in our beautiful beds that we love. And show them how great it is to snuggle in that bed and listen to music so that they can calm their brain again. If they have to go potty or whatever they wake up for, then you have to look at that business. You have to look at why they're doing that stuff. All right, let's see. We've got a few more coming in here. Behavior daycare is also off. He's stuck with only one caregiver, never wants to do anything without her. Could it be language related? It could. Yes. In fact, again, late talking kids put people, they set you up to fail. They set you up to be their talkie boxes. And a nonverbal child will find the one adult in their daycare that will do for them. Okay? That will do for them. Your job as a mom is to teach them how to communicate their wants and needs so that they can start using language with those people, because they're basically empowering those people to enable them to be late talking at school and isolated from their friends and all of that stuff. Now, if your child's only 2, then they are, looking for this kind of connection, and they might need more of it in your house. They might need more of it in your house. And if your child won't leave you in your house 24/7, then you've caused some habits that are causing them to be too hooked on being with you. And why does that happen? Fear. It always happens from fear. Why are you afraid? And you call your mom, you're afraid. Xenoglossophobia. I'm afraid these people are going to make me do something I don't want to do. They're going to make me talk. They're going to tell me to do stuff. They're going to do whatever. Okay? And they're afraid something about that environment that they need to go to a safety net person to do there. And you got to figure out what it is in their world that they're afraid of. If you want them to join other kids, if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. And if they're afraid, they'll find someone to go to. So let's see. Moving through. Yeah, so FBA says, I'm not ABA, but my son does 24 hours of ABA each week, but they are open to my input and they use play-based work sessions. I hope that's good, as long as they are not, as long as they're not making your child angry. As long as they're not making your child upset or frustrated, then ABA can help you. But it's not going ABA methods. Exchange-based, ABA is exchange-based. And exchange-based does not teach natural spoken language. It teaches needs-based behavioral communication. That's it. It's Pecs, needs-based communication, not sharing your personal ideas. It cannot teach that. It cannot. Because that one picture does not help that person convey every idea to a stranger. It can't. They have to use spoken language for that. And if you empower your child, they will 100% give up those pictures to do it. So, and if your child is in ABA, I would say, and you want to keep it, especially 25 hours a week, you tell them to focus on something besides communication. If you've got other behaviors, potty training, or that's a behavior that they can train, staying in the house, that's a behavior they can train. Other than that, kids can learn everything. They don't need ABA. They don't need ABA. And most kids who are in it, don't need it. They don't. But some parents don't have a choice, and they do what they do. And I'm not going to say that you should stop or start or do whatever, but I am going to tell you that if your child is upset or crying or doesn't like it, then you need to consider changing. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can make your own decision. Let's see. Sherry Thomas says, my late talker is almost 4.5. He's currently in developmental preschool for speech, cognitive, and social emotional delays. His receptive language has always been very high. Currently, he's putting together 4 to 5 words to express his wants and needs. That's amazing. We've done too much tech, which is being addressed recently, and I already feel he's more engaged with us. That's awesome, amazing, and it usually doesn't take long if that's the big problem, if that's a blockage. He has a difficult time being social, with it, which is my main focus now, and trying to get communication from him that's not him just saying his wants, right? So, okay, Sherry. Again, social communication comes from eliminating prompting. Okay, so you have to think about, how did your child learn to say the needs-based language that he's using? Have you been asking him to imitate these phrases? Do you cue and coach him every time he wants something to use words to ask for that? I posit that at this stage, I didn't see, he's 4.5, right? At this stage, you do not need to prompt him to request. He's been requesting since birth. I never, ever would use, especially if he's using 4 to 5 words, he's probably telling you exactly what he wants. If it's not accurate, then you need to stop correcting those things. You just need to let this language that he's using evolve on its own. Don't take responsibility for the words that come out of your child's mouth. Take responsibility for observing them and interpreting them. And then you're going to find out why he's saying what he's saying, okay? And the meaning behind it, because this is the language your child doesn't have. This is the language your child needs to be able to get rid of his fear of communicating with someone else who is, that's the other thing. If your child is afraid of communicating in social experiences, that means that you are guessing what they want too much, okay? And they rely on you to be their talkie box and their interpreter, okay? And they won't leave you, because anytime there's other people around, those people don't know how. They don't know how to behave in a way that gets that person to read their mind like they are doing with you. Your child has taught you how to understand their facial expressions when they poo a certain way. I mean, I'm telling you, they have taught you how to do this. And that's what's happening that's keeping them stuck. What you need to do is you need to teach your child the language they have missed. So stop focusing on prompting and imitation. Stop it now. Focus on interpretation. Watch your child. Figure out why they say it. And then those, you want the blue cup because. And you need to start saying because a lot. And if you put that word in your vocabulary, you will expand your language beyond, you want a cup. Here's your cup. You want a cup because you are thirsty. You want this cup because it's your favorite color. It's the because part that your needs-based kids, no matter how old they are, it's the because that they're missing in their language models, because they're not going to get it from here. From YouTube, they're going to get the explanation and the description. Here is this thing. This is how you do it. It looks like this, and this is what color it is, and this is what it's made of, and blah, 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 blah. And kids are, What do I do with that? What do I do with that? And when they're on their own, again, like other moms, they were maybe using these memorized things to communicate other wants and needs that are sort of related, but not kind of. Or maybe the last time they said that, labeled that thing, you gave it to them. So now they say the name of that thing for everything they want. It all depends how your child learned to use the language they have. And that's when I have families in my program, I have them send me videos. And I'm watching not just the kids, I'm watching the adults. I want to see, how do you talk to your child? Do you prompt them all the time? Do you guess what they want when they have behaviors? Because I guarantee if your child won't be social, it's because of those two things. Okay, so really, really look at those habits. Really, really look. That's the most important thing. Okay, let's see. Hopefully, Jesse, I answered yours. Dwin, my 2-year-old does not communicate what he wants, just whines when he wants something. But he knows the different animals, shapes, colors, numbers, and sight words, what to do to make him communicate. Again, you're not going to make your child ask for things. You can if you withhold them and say, if you want the thing, say the thing. However, that's not going to help your child learn to use what they want. So we've been talking so far about kids that have said words, that have started to use some spoken language. This is the level of communication lower, where a child is completely relying on you to guess what they want as a result of their behavior. And also potentially, it depends on how bad it is in your household. How old is this child? 2-year-old. Yeah. So in a 2-year-old situation, that if then algorithm, that hasn't kicked in very well. It's very, very rudimentary from an emotional standpoint. So your 2-year-old will be happy in a situation where they're getting their needs met and they're feeling good. Okay. Now, if you're seeing whining and that kind of stuff, that means your child's not content. They are needing something, they're wanting something, and they're out of that I feel comfortable feeling. And so what they're doing without a language to use, they just start making noises. They just start making noises because they don't have any other language that they can pull from. A 2-year-old who's nonverbal, no language to pull from. Oh, there's a word for that. They don't know. They don't know those words. So they just, and they have these feelings, I need something, but I don't know how to communicate that. So they start making noises and they start moving their body. They'll flap their hands, they'll get up and move, they'll come and get you, they'll start hitting you, whatever, in a nonverbal late talker. And this is true no matter how old the nonverbal late talker is. If they're 18 months or 18 years, same thing. They will rely on the people around them to both anticipate their needs and guess what they want and do things for them. Okay. So if your little one's not doing that yet, it's very important now that you get into those oh, you want this. And not just that you want the phone, you want mommy to give you a phone. You want daddy to take you outside. You want your sister to stop yelling, if it's a baby sister or something like that. You want this situation, the outcome, not just the object name, but the outcome. You want to eat chocolate so your tummy is happy. You want to do this because this. And you start that in the very beginning. What does the child want? They want you to give them the thing. Yeah, they want the thing, but what they're trying to tell you is you need to give it to me because I can't get it on my own. Okay, and that's the big difference in when you model language for a pre-verbal child, or no matter how old the child is, right? You say, oh, you want this. This is a phone. You want mom to give you the phone. And then you talk about how you're going to do it. Okay, I will give you the phone, and see how I'm using gestures even and pointing to the phone, because remember, these late talkers, they're using their eyes. They've been using their eyes since birth to understand what's going on around them. And you combine, when you talk to them, you super slow talking. Oh, you want me to put Peppa Pig on the phone for you? Because they might even say phone or grab the phone and bring it to you, and you know they want Peppa Pig because they always want Peppa Pig, or they always want this. And every time you take that thing and do it and give it to your kid without language modeling, you're missing the opportunity to teach them how to tell you what they want, because you're guessing. Okay. So, I mean, it's really, really big. This is a major mindset. So, is the information in your book contained in the independent study program? Yes. In fact, the independent study program is a lot more than the book. The book is probably the first couple chapters, the first couple phrases of the independent study course. By the way, the independent study course, it's on my website. It is $500. And for $500, you can learn how to uncover all the blockages, realize what's going on, physical, environmental, and emotional, get new strategies to get into what it is, and teach your child to talk, overcome them. Understand it's all about this analysis. Because when I get parents who work with me, they send me videos and they send me information about their family, and I put the algorithms together and I go, oh, here's why. Because parents are guessing. That's why I'm saying these things over and over again as the things that are blocking, the habits that are in your family that are blocking your kids talking, because the parents who pay me to work with me and they send me videos and I say, look, you're guessing what your child wants. You're over prompting. They don't want to listen to you. And then they make changes in these habits where they start to, and instead of anticipating their child's needs, they talk about their experiences together and why they need the things they need to make these experiences fun or not so fun, or what happened to cause the experience to be not so fun. Okay? We talk about experiences because that's why we need language, and that's how we learn language naturally. And that's what's important with language facilitation. It's not about hearing your child say words when you want, because secretly in your mind, in your heart, you want them to talk when they want, not when you want. I mean, it makes you feel better, right? When you hear them, they passed the test. My kid passed the test. Look at him showing off for everybody. Look at my kid. He can talk now. I mean, that might make you feel good, right? But it's not for your kid. It's not helping your kid. It's not helping them get better. And that's what's really important about all of this. Okay. So let's see. Hero doesn't communicate what he wants. We talked about that. Oh, yeah. So if your child does know colors, shapes, numbers, they can label those things. They probably were taught in their therapy or even from you, from books or things, how to memorize and talk about those things. Now, what I always recommend, if your child does know a lot of attributes about something, but they're not using spoken language, first of all, that needs-based thing that I was just talking about, needs-based language always comes first. But the whys and becauses are also very helpful for you to get a little bit more language exposure so that you can teach your child how to ask, okay? That's the whys and becauses and how you're going to give it to them, that stuff. Now, the other level that is very important with a pre-verbal and a limited verbal child, especially if they are using some single words, primarily they learn these nouns or verbs to label an action that they want, like I want to run or I want to go out, that kind of thing. They're labeling the experience that they want. When they say cookie, they mean I want to eat a cookie, right? When they say park, they mean I want to go and swing or I want to go and run or I want to go and whatever. So most late talkers who learn vocabulary, first, they learn these needs-based words. Now, my favorite strategy about kids who have labels in their memory banks, but they don't know how to use them, is storytelling. Storytelling, not just storytelling about fantasies and fairy tales, okay, superheroes and stuff. Storytelling about your life. When I talked earlier in the video, I was talking about how you can talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it. I am cooking. I'm making chicken curry. And you'll be like a YouTube video where you say, first I'm adding this and then I'm adding this and I've got to stir it this way. And it's too whatever. And I've got to put the lid on or have to be careful about this, and all the ways you talk about the things you do. So that's one way to sort of tell stories. I'm telling you the story of how chicken curry gets created. Okay. Or you can tell stories about your experiences. And what a lot of people don't understand is that these late talkers, remember, they are trying to develop these algorithms. As they're getting older, before 4 years old, they're not very good at it. But until they get there, they they learning the whys and becauses. It's more feeling based, like when I cry, mom will come. That's if then that they start learning from the beginning. But later, they start to get more specific about it. When I cry in this way, I get mom to move faster, right? So they get better and better and better. They're evolving their communication. And that's what you want to do with these words. So they know some words, just like they know some behavior, and your stories you tell about how you play. So I'm going to play with the train, and I want to connect the green train with yellow wheels and the blue train with green wheels. I'm connecting those trains together because I want a bigger train, right? And all those things. And your kid's watching you like, why are you describing and talking about these things? Because it's just like the YouTube video, right? You describe exactly how much you put in the chicken curry, how exactly those things that you do when you talk about the stories of your life. This is how you get into teaching your child the words they need to tell you the stories about their life. So when they experience something, when they're not with you, if they go out with dad or they go with their sibling or go to school, right? You're showing them how to talk about their experiences. That's what parents want, is they want kids to use sentences to talk about, what did you do at school today? And what did you do, whatever? And you can't ask your kiddo those questions until you teach them the language they need to be able to answer them. That's why we don't ask questions. We talk about, when you pick up your kiddo at school, you talk about your day a little bit. I'm so happy to be here to get you. I drove all the way from my office to drive here to pick you up, to get you. Does your child know that? Yeah, but they don't know the words around it. They don't know the language about it. This is just an assumed idea. Mom's going to be here at the end of the day. When it gets to be a certain time, mom's going to show up. These are the stories of your life. If you're just assuming your child understands those things without saying them out loud, you are missing the opportunity to teach spoken language around those things. And that's how you elevate the needs-based language that your kids learn in schools and therapies and ABA and all that stuff. That's how they teach. They teach this teach, test, reward. I'm going to teach you this thing. This is a hand. Then I'm going to test you. What is this? Or find the hand, and right? And they're going to touch it. Wow, good job. You understand that I taught you that this is a hand, and the word sounds like this. This is what it looks like. I pointed to it so you can see it exactly. I let you hold mine. You have them. I pointed them out. You know what a hand is. And then reward is like, well, give me your hand. And they give you your hand. Wow, you understand what a hand is, and you gave me your hand. Thank you so much. You learned what a hand is, okay? Now, teach, test, reward, that way that I just described it, is how you teach all day, every day. But if there's reward is contingent on the correct answer, like give me your hand and your child doesn't, and then they're like, oh, you don't understand. And then there's some consequence, right, for their child not giving you the hand. Maybe they weren't listening. Maybe they don't, we don't know why the behavior didn't happen. We don't know that your child didn't understand you. Maybe they chose not to give you your hand. You can't assume your child doesn't understand you when they choose to do something different than you ask them, because they're humans, they're kids. They're going to do what they want anyway. That's why language facilitation is all about figuring out why. Oh, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to give me his hand. Why not? Why not? Why doesn't my child want to give me their hand? Oh, maybe he doesn't like how I hold their hand. Maybe he wants to run. Maybe he's afraid I'm going to hold him back or something. And maybe you need to hold his hand because he has the habit of running in the street. So then you got to say it. I need to hold your hand because you don't know how to stay with mom. You don't know how to stay with me. So I need to hold your hand right now. Okay? And I'm going to do it because I don't want you to be unsafe, right? So you hold your boundaries. You create your boundaries. And when you create the rules and the boundaries and the structure of your house, your plan to get through your day and you're in charge, then you're not finding yourself putting out fires all day, chasing your child around. Oh no, he did something else again. Now I've got to clean up that mess. Oh no, my child did something else. If you know what your child's supposed to be doing and they know what they're supposed to be doing, then it should work out okay. It should work out okay. And if your child isn't able to do that thing independently, then it's up to you to have support for them. If it's a nanny or you or somebody else. But you can't expect your child to be independent doing things and expect outcomes and expect your child to imitate you when you haven't taught them the language they need to respond to your questions or, do all these things. And that's why you don't have to worry about teaching, prompting, pulling out anything. Your job as a language facilitator parent is to put the language in. So that when someone else, and everyone else will prompt your child, then they pull it out. But if you're pulling and they're pulling, nobody's putting language in, and that's why your kids are late talking. All of you watching me, this is why your child's late talking, because more people are pulling language out, including you, than putting language in. And that's the number one reason, for sure, for most parents. All right, let's see. Okay. Sherry says, thanks. I'm glad. Thanks for joining me, Sherry. Dawn says, thanks for the tips and strategies. Very helpful for parents like me. I'm so glad that you're getting some help from this. We still have a little bit more time. I just want to show you really quick. I'm not seeing any more questions, but I want to give you a chance. If you just joined me, I want you to put your questions now in the comments and let me know about your child's age, about their current communication, what they're doing right now, and what blockages you know about that are going on that we can talk about. And then also let me know what you're looking for. Like, what are you really hoping to get as far as language facilitation? But hopefully these strategies that I talked about today will help you. All right, so let me show you really quick some ways to get more information and training about language facilitation. So there is my book. I talked about it here. If it isn't fun, it isn't fun. That's on Amazon. I have 2 social media, 3. I'm actually also on Instagram. I don't have that on here, but I am also on Instagram, Facebook, and MeWe. But these 2, Facebook and MeWe, you're going to be able to interact with me a little bit more, ask questions. I post something in there almost every day. So you're going to see a lot on Facebook as well. My website, wavesofcommunication.com, there's blog posts on there. There's parent testimonials on there. There is a hour-and-a-half long video to teach you everything you need to know about uncovering blockages and what you need to do for language facilitation. It is for free at wavesofcommunication.com. And I also have a podcast. It's called the Language Facilitation Helpline Podcast. It's available on all podcast platforms, and you can join there. I interview people interview me. I give tips and strategies. If you're a listener instead of a looker, the videos that I produce on Facebook or on YouTube, I also put up over there on the podcast, and you never know what's going to be going up there. All different kinds of things. It's just evolving all the time. My team is doing great job sort of gathering the most important material for families, because there are on YouTube nearly 400 videos to choose from. And so the challenge videos, you can search on my YouTube page for challenge, and you can see the swapping the prompting challenge. You can see the trade tech time for talk time challenge. You can learn strategies in every single video. And that's the best thing about this platform is you can go there and search like apraxia or whatever, Einstein syndrome, all of that, and find out what's going on to get strategies and learn what you can do. And that's the main thing. Like I said, my goal for all of these videos is to provide you with something that you can use to take out of here today, to play with your kiddo in a little bit of a different way, talk to them in a little bit of a different way. I talk about language facilitation talk. So that idea of identifying the 2 to 3 hours per day, but that language facilitation talk is very important. And it's not just about how you talk. It is, though, important how you talk, and you need to talk more slowly. You need to talk carefully. You need to look at your child as much as you can and encourage them to look at your face as much as they want to, right? A lot of kids, once they decide that you're not going to force them to say things, they will develop a lot better eye contact. They'll start looking at your mouth. They'll start pulling on your face even to get you to want to say more words. You want these solutions. You want your child to be almost frustrated because you're not talking enough. And that means that you have shifted them into being a rock star listener. And rock star listeners are rock star talkers. But those kids who refuse to listen, who refuse to connect, who refuse to even take somebody else's idea and use it because they've got their own ideas and they want to do things their own way, these kids are going to get stuck in resistance for learning new spoken language. And they're going to be frustrated because of their resistance. So if you have a child who's older than even 3, right, you can already start to be seeing some of this frustration. And, because their needs get so much more complex. They watch a lot of things on video. Not this year, but previous years, they were out in schools and going to classes and seeing kids in community parks and things like that, even on the street, right? And they're not seeing so much of that these days, where there's a lot more people inside and they're spending more time on tech. That's what really going to help everybody to get better spoken language. If you start to spend this time, 2 to 3 hours a day, where you are really focused on just putting language in, all of that. So, all right, I'm not seeing any more questions come through. Hopefully these are all helpful for everybody. I'm so glad to have so many people joining me today. I just love communicating with all of you. I'm trying to think about some of the strategies that have been really popping up here lately. It is that tech issue over and over and over I'm hearing from families. One of the other videos that is very common is the bilingual video that people have been watching in the past couple weeks. I've seen a lot of hits on there. And the idea behind language facilitation is that we teach kids to use all the spoken language they need for their environmental situations. So if your home is a bilingual home and you speak a main language, that is probably your child's first language. It may not be the language of your environment. If you're from India or South America or Europe and you're living in the United States, you may speak your home language at home and you don't speak English unless you're leaving the house and you're out in the community. Then that's definitely a bilingual home, but your child is going to be using your home language as their first language. I always encourage parents to teach their kids that one, and then you can work on English together as you are living in this country. And if your English is great, then you want to focus on English and your other language. So 2 to 3 hours for each language that you are facilitating. Okay. So if you're trying to get a bilingual late talker, we've got to work twice as hard to integrate 2 languages and keep those languages separate so that you use the right language with the right person. And now kids are going to combine them. Everybody combines them, especially in a bilingual household. But to teach them to use these languages on their own, even in their own combination ways, it has to be focused. So you can teach your child to talk no matter what language you're speaking at home with language facilitation. In fact, I encourage parents to use both languages. And again, you need those 2 to 3 hours so you can swap out even the same activity with one language one day and another language the other day. So for example, let's say you speak Russian in your home and you only speak, you speak Russian most of the time while you're getting dressed, while you're getting your teeth brushed, while you're cooking, while you're doing like family kinds of things. So one day I want you to swap it up, or for a week straight maybe. You do just your toothbrushing routine in English, and you use English words during that part because you want to do the whole experience in the language so that you're modeling appropriate sentences, appropriate grammatical structure, and your brain is focused on providing one language model at a time. As a language facilitator, you don't want to mix these languages. I know that it's a habit and it happens a lot in a lot of the way people use them, but in order to teach someone else, you have to use it in the right way. So during this dedicated language facilitation time, it's very important that you separate that out and use super slow talking in the language that you're teaching, and always full sentences. We never say single words over and over and over again to teach a child a thing, a name of a thing. We always talk about, you want the phone. This is a phone, and I will give you the phone. And I realize that that's 3 whole sentences, but that is a secret strategy that I give to parents to help them keep on their mindset. Every single time your child gestures, points, says a single word to ask you for something or integrate or share an idea, you need to provide 3 full sentences in response to that request. Oh, you want the phone. I will give you the phone. Or you want me to put Peppa Pig on the phone. Or you want me to find videos on the phone. Why does your child want the phone? Right? It's not just I'm giving them what they want. You're providing language modeling at the same time. And that's how it works. So, all right, let's see. It seems overwhelming at times, and the teachers and all these therapists tell you what they do with other kids. So the independent study program is a very empowering tool for us parents. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, the independent study and the book are good for parents who are either have therapy at home or not, or they're taking their kids to therapy or not, because the reality is that it doesn't matter. You could have the greatest therapist that your child loves and they adore every single one of their speech therapy sessions, because a lot of speech therapists, I mean, my kids who I worked with, for the most part, they liked me. Sometimes they didn't. And that was when they were too attached to their parents that they didn't like me. But there were those times for sure. I mean, nobody likes everybody. Or nobody's liked by everybody, I guess I should say. So your job as a mom is it's your responsibility to get your child to like you, right? And we don't have to worry about what those therapists are doing with your child during their time, unless they're making your child upset, right? Then you have to worry about it. But otherwise, they're doing their best. They're providing vocabulary. They're doing their teach, test, reward. They're pulling words out. They're showing your kids how to practice talking and use these words. That's all fine. But it does not teach you what I'm talking about. In addition to memorizing words, flashcards, worksheets, reading practices, all of that stuff that other teachers and therapists will do with your child, this language facilitation is what you do anyway, every day, in addition to whatever your child gets, because this time that you spend, this 2 to 3 hours every day, is where you see the progress. It's why I quit being a therapist, because I can help parents get more progress by literally putting YouTube videos out and empowering you with these strategies to show you how to do not what therapists do, but what moms do, what language facilitators do, okay? How we teach our kids to be better, not just perform better, okay? And that's the most important part about all of this. All right, so here, truth heals. Here, Eddie's grandma. Hi, I'm 5-year-old Eddie's grandma, and I'm disabled, but try to help as much as I can, but tend to yell or intervene too. He's so active and he runs off. I worry for his safety. How do I stop and be fun? Oh, what a great question. So yeah, it is. There are problems that you have in your life that, like if you're not as active, then you can't chase after a 5-year-old who's really going. So mom who's watching also, you can help grandma by talking with your child and teaching him the behavior. So this is what you work on with your ABA people, is this running business. And you have to realize what is this child running away from? Why does he want to go? And if grandma, you can find something that's so attractive maybe you need to have a gross motor movement opportunity in your place, at your house where you live, unless you live with them, and then you need to have one there, a mini trampoline, a tunnel, a swing, a something like that, or a fenced yard, right? Where you can let this child go do the movement that he's got to have, because trying to restrict him from doing it is going to cause this super smart 5-year-old late talker to be sneaky and break locks and sneak out when you're not looking. And so it's super, super important that you do find something fun. So work together, mom and grandma. What does this child love? What will help him be better? Go to the toy store and try out a mini trampoline. Find a swing, find a thing that you like that you can put in your house. And then also, grandma, you might want to try things that are other sensory related experiences that your grandson will like, that are easy for you to do. Things like playing in water in the sink. So put just a little bit of water, not a ton. You can let the water run real small, and play with dumping. And show him that water stays in the sink, that water doesn't go everywhere. But if you do it in the kitchen sink and it spills on the floor, it's not like that big of a deal. It's just water. But these are the activities. And you want to make bubbles, and you want to do, pouring kinds of things. So water activities, making slime and playing Play-Doh and that kind of stuff together. But I'm trying to find stuff that's easy for a grandma. If the weather gets nice, you want to have outdoor time when you can run in the sprinkler, right? And get wet with a bucket of water and dump it on your head, and if you have a wet shirt that you got to change into and change out of because it's all wet. This is how a grandma can teach a child to do language facilitation, even if they don't like to play toys, right? The things that you like to do. Go for a car ride. Go for a car ride. It helps your child experience. If it's terrible weather and you can't get out, of course, you have to be careful driving if it's terrible weather. But even if it's raining and you don't want to go someplace with an umbrella and let your kid play, as long as it's not thundering, let them play in the rain with an umbrella, right? These kinds of experience. And then you talk about how cool it is, how fun it is. What is this experience like for me? This is how you as a grandma can find wonderful ways to engage with this late talker who probably doesn't like to play a lot of toys and he likes to run around. And again, when you yell, when he runs, he's not listening. So you're just making yourself more frustrated that he's running. We have to talk about that running. And if you can't go run and chase him, then mom has to help you with finding things to do that are going to keep him nearby. Right? So he's either running towards something that he's not getting in the house or away from something he doesn't want to experience in the house. And that's the first thing you got to figure out. What can you do to keep him there, to make him want to stay? How can your experience of grandma babysitting be more fun, be more helpful, be more useful? You have to work with mom to find the things that he likes, and limit your expectations for yourself and for him. Just, get through the time together where he's not running out. That's the only expectation. I just want to keep him in the house. That's all, and healthy and not, hurt. You know what I mean? I work on food together if you like to eat. Work on, whatever you like to do. Put on music and have dance parties. All these kinds of things that you can do. If he likes to move and things like that, he's already 5. Have you looked at a scooter or a bike to work on teaching him to ride that thing? Because those cross body activities, riding a bicycle and riding a scooter, where you hold and do one leg, this is very good for the brain. And it helps these kids who need to move in a more elevated way. So they're not just not running around flapping. They're actually moving in a way that helps them get somewhere or learn a skill or work on their muscles even. So kids do workouts with their parents, all those things that you can focus on, gross motor activities, and that's going to help you fill your time with him a lot easier, right? So thanks for all the likes on this video. I really appreciate all of you watching. Let's see. So Kelly says, yep, we do water. Spread towels on the floor. That's right. Just whatever. And then even after you spread towels on the floor, here's the next trick. Use the laundry experience as your next language learning opportunity. Oh no, now we've got wet towels all over the floor. Get a basket. put the towels in the basket, push the heavy basket on the floor all the way to the washing machine, wherever it is. Show your child how to turn on the water. Listen for the water. The water's going in. We have to put some soap because the floor was dirty. Or, as you're mopping up the floor, use the wet towels to mop the floor. Show your child how to, look, now we got wet towels. We can clean the floor. Let's swipe these towels all over the floor. Win-win, bonus floor cleaning opportunity, right? This is how a smart mom is going to use whatever happens in your life as an opportunity to put more language into your child's functional language processing system. Not just show them stuff that you want them to regurgitate to you, but teach them the words they need so they can share their ideas and their wisdom and their disgruntledness and their problems and everything with the world, because that's what language is necessary for, is all of that. So I'm super glad to get all this interaction. I can't wait to do this. I think we're definitely going to keep this a regular thing going on. I'm not seeing any more comments now. We've already been at this for an hour and 45 minutes. I think I'm going to get off for now. Like I said, you want to learn more? Stay on the channel. Subscribe now. Every single week, I have a new video that comes out, and I do them live, so you can join me every week to ask questions about your late talker, on topic or not. And I think I'm going to do these live Q&As where I let everybody join and get some interaction and talk about. So next month, hopefully some of you will join and invite other parents to join and let me know your progress. Let me know how these strategies worked in your life. And hopefully within a month, for sure, all the parents that I talked to today, every single one of you has a child who has a profile that can see elevated spoken language, using more words in the next month if you follow language facilitation. 3 to 6 weeks. Some kids faster, the older kids faster, right? So I'm telling you what, it really can help. Now, not only that, but I work with people as a coach. And if you invest in the independent study program, I always recommend do that first. If you're a good independent learner, do it. And if you get into it and you realize, whoa, I really want guidance. I'm bad at skipping my habits. I don't even know if I can understand all of my habits. I don't know what to do. Then you can roll that $500 up into my coaching programs. And my lifetime coaching program to work with me until your child's a chatterbox is only $3,000. That's it. Forever, until your child, who is like they are right now, communicating like they are right now, you can get them 3 to 6 weeks into spoken language, and you can work with me until they're a chatterbox. And I tell everybody, like they're valedictorian of the high school. If you want them to get there, then it's going to be up to you to teach them the spoken language they need, because at this stage, no matter where they are, nobody else is teaching them. Only you. You're the one putting the language in. That's the mama's job, or the parents, or the caregivers, or whoever spends most of the time during the day with your child. It's your responsibility to be teaching your child the language they need to talk about the experiences of their life. And with language facilitation strategies, you can do it. And parents are doing it all over the world in 20 countries. We got Earth Day today, so I'm talking about parents everywhere all over the world getting amazing progress and with language facilitation. I can't wait to see where you guys all come. And join me next week so we can focus again. I'm going to look one more time to see. Yep, no more questions for today. So I think I'm going to get off of here for now. Thanks again. Check out the book and the independent study program. Get started with your strategies. Watch videos on my YouTube channel. It's up to you to make this happen for your child, because parents are the best language facilitator, and you can teach your child to talk faster than speech therapy. I know parents all over the world are doing it. I've worked with more than 100 families as people who coached in, and 200 people have signed on to the independent study program. So lots and lots of people are using language facilitation. So you can do this. You can. Yeah, and I'll see you next week. Thanks again for joining me, everybody. Thank you again for all your comments. I'm super happy to share these strategies with you, and I will see you all on my next video. Bye for now.